Okay, the next item on our agenda is the internal fund transfers. Kevin, you want to talk about this, or Tim?
Yeah, Tim, you can address this.
The IMRF fund is a fund that historically has very low balances, negative balances. This, I think, was discussed at an earlier board meeting with, and William Blair made a presentation that at this time, August or September, we should permanently transfer $125,000 from working cash to IMRF. We can shore up the IMRF fund balance to some extent by adjusting the tax levy, but if we do that now, we wouldn't see that adjustment until fiscal year 2013. So this is meant to permanently increase the balance in the IMRF fund. Without this, we would end the year with a negative roughly $32,000 balance.
Okay.
This was also reviewed by our bond counsel, William Blair, who does regular updates with Tim on where we're at with fund balances, etc. And they recommended the resolution as well.
Any other questions?
Yeah, the only question I have, and I'm not an expert, there's limitations on what you can transfer out of that fund. So interest earned, is there a limitation to transfer anything back out? Because right now with the 125 permanent transfer, you're going to wind up the year at $93,000. Now there's not going to be a lot of interest earned on that, but I'm just, and you're without the transfer, it's projected to have a positive income, net income on that fund. So I'm wondering why, due to the permanent transfers, there are restrictions when you're talking about the that particular fund, or what's the and the dollar amount? I mean,
well, there are restrictions on the transfer of interest out of this fund. Yes.
right.
In the budget that we have, the only transfer of interest we have is from the bond and interest fund into the education fund. So we've left the interest in this fund over the years. And again, that just helps shore up the balance a little bit more, even though it's not a real significant amount of interest.
And that'll be on the levy, then you'll just move some of that tax levy out of accordingly, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When we do the tax levy, we'll look at the different funds, see what the balances look like they're going to be, what kind of money we need in each fund, and then.
And this is one of those funds where the percentage is like known after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And so then.
No, understood, but we're also, this upcoming budget year, it's a positive net income.
Yeah.
We are at negative $70,000 fund balance going into the year.
Sure.
But we're going to have a positive 165 for the year, so that tells you got a positive 40 for the year.
Yeah. And we won't know what the percent is that we have to.
Up the upcoming year, I understand.
Yeah, and then you can adjust the levies, and we have.
Right,
We have in the past made a prior permanent transfer as well as.
I just don't know where that
fund
125 came from, with the knowledge that we're going to be positive 40, or we're going to be at a break even when we did that number, or what was given to our council to decide 125 versus going and just doing it to get it back to a break even and not leave $93,000, because you are basically taking out of the working capital.
Yes.
Which is basically the education fund.
The working capital is a separate fund, but yes.
But it's deemed to be education.
And you're permanently transferring it out.
Right.
But Gary's, it gets a lot higher to me. If we transfer 32,000 permanently based on our projection, we'd be transferring enough money. So why are we transferring 125?
I thought there was a concern about future payments leading into the next year if we're not knowing when you collect your taxes for the IMRF.
But then you always could come back to us and say another 40 or whatever. I just, you know.
This was just the recommendation that was made. I think it was even discussed by the board back a few months ago.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
And this was something that Chris probably brought to us a year ago.
To do a transfer.
To do this transfer.
Because we've been doing loans, right?
Well, in the last years we've been doing.
And again, when we were discussing the transfer, we didn't see a budget in front of us to see what the projected, I don't believe we saw what the projected net income was going to be. So I don't remember seeing that number at the same time. So I mean, I'm just raising, this is why we choose that number. You know, was that in the vacuum with saying that we're going to be at a break even to get that 70 to, you know?
Well, some of this too is tied to projections.
What's the critical, is
And
this
then-
something
and
that
then-
has to be
then
done?
you have to have a balance at the end of the year before you get your taxes in the fall.
Right.
So otherwise, if you just break even at July 1st,
Well, we ended this year with a negative 70, so
so we had to
We had
load
to
it
get up,
in.
we had to make sure we got our revenue.
Well, just, I mean, there are rules when you have to do a permanent transfer or not, which I still don't understand, but, first of all, do we have to do this today? And second of all, based on the production, do we really need to do 125 as the permanent? As a permanent transfer as opposed to continue to loan money, if that makes sense? And I understand they recommended it, but we're,
Do we have to do that?
I mean, is
Well,
it?
the only concern is that that will impact the money from making our payments with the Treasury Department, if I'm not mistaken. Just with the Township Treasurer, because we have a negative
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah, we do have,
And we have to rectify that, so we either have to do another loan, or we have to do a transfer.
yeah, there is a loan that went into that fund last year. That's money that's in there. The loans are paid back in the spring after we get the tax collections in the spring. That's typically
Okay.
when the board pays it back.
But can we modify the amounts? Because I guess the concern is that it's projected we're gonna have extra money in there and we don't need it in there. We can transfer more later if that's not the case.
We could also budget, levy less.
Levy less, yeah.
So it's not like we're gonna lose that money forever. And this is where I wanna, we're starting to get into the minutia a little bit. We have a bond council that's recommending we transfer 125,000. It'll give us an excess of about 90,000. He can adjust his levy for the December 30th levy to account for that 90,000 if we're
Okay.
worried that we're gonna waste. I get what you're all saying, let's not get rid of that 90 if we don't need to, but we can adjust it on the back end of
And
the
there
levy.
is the unknown factor as to what percent we're gonna have to pay out of that fund for,
Right.
It's gone up.
It's gone up, right.
It
and it's
can't
going
hurt us
up.
by having a little extra.
Yeah,
I'd
right.
I'd rather have a balanced checkbook than to be coming to you again for another loan transfer.
But is that money better sitting in a different account? That's
At
the
this
question.
time, that amount, the extra 9, no.
Okay.
I don't think it would.
All right, any other discussion? I need a motion.
Resolved that the Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois hereby approves the resolution abating the working cash fund of Township High School District Number 208, Cook County, Illinois, as presented in the September 13, 2011 Board Agenda Packet.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike Welch. Any other discussion? Mary Ann?
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Gritchin?
yes.
Mr. Cindy?
Yes. All right, the other one we have on is approval of the fiscal year 2012 salary compensation report. Kevin, you want to talk about
Yeah,
this?
this is just what the school code requires. That's a new legislation that passed, I believe, 2 years ago, Tim?
I think so, yeah.
If that's correct, where all administrators' compensation is broken down by their salary, pension, any other benefits they receive are reported. What a lot of districts have gone to, not all, but a lot of districts have gone to is having this up there for all their employees. The only one that has to be approved before October 15th or October 1st is the administrative one. So that's the one we're bringing to you today. And then I will look at a report of possibly doing all the employees. Either way, it just makes basically what this does is it makes it easier for community members to locate salaries of their school employees for their district. It's all available anyways on the internet, and it's all FOIable, so it's not like, you're hiding anything, which is my recommendation that we should put up all the employees. But that would take some amount of time for Tim's staff to create a report that could break them all down. So that's something we would consider doing. But for right now, the only thing that has to be brought forward is the administration.
Any other questions?
I have two questions. The first one, and again, just for, the health and dental is just an allocation based on what we expect the cost to be for that individual, right? It's an allocation of what the actuarial have believed that the cost for, say, Kevin, for his health insurance that the board pays.
Correct.
He's not getting $20,000 for health insurance.
No.
Okay. No, because I think some people look at this and think that's another check they're getting, and all it is an allocation of the cost that they estimated for, is whether they assume these people have family that are all the same, for our cost for their health insurance, right?
Yes.
The second thing is, what's in the vacation day carrier where there's a number, is it the 5 days and that's
5 days,
the
10
value,
days, yes.
the cost of
Right.
for their salary? Okay.
All right. Do I have a motion?
Resolved that the Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois hereby approves the fiscal year 2012 salary compensation report for the administration as presented in the September 13, 2011 Board Agenda Packet.
Have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike Welch. Any other discussion?
Yeah, my question is, how this is gonna be put on our website in a certain spot, or what's?
Yes.
It'll be on the business, it's required.
Yes.
So it's not, is this a new state law then?
No, it's already on
no,
there.
we
It's already on
Previous
there
years have
last
already
year.
been on there.
It's on
Okay.
from the RBS main homepage. There is a business service
Right.
tab. If you click the business service tab, there's something called salary compensation report. And the one from last year has been up there the whole year. It looks similar.
And when you design this new website, people actually be able to find it without knowing where it is. Is
She's
that
ready
your
for it. Look at
plan,
this right now.
Pam? Okay.
All right, any other discussion?
Yeah,
John didn't get his.
Okay.
I really want to encourage Kevin to follow up on that. I think every employee of this district should be on that website.
Okay. But it's gonna take a while for him to break out like he's doing.
Right, but sooner than better, than
All right.
later.
Okay.
Mary Ann?
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Gritchen?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Cindy?
All right, we're gonna be moving into closed session before visitor statements. Kevin, you wanna talk about what we're gonna,
Yes, we just have some general personnel matters in regards to two resignations from assistant coaches, the appointments of 6 sponsors. These are all sponsors of clubs that were approved to keep by the board at the July 14th meeting. So this is just finalizing some people who need to fill them or are splitting those to get co-sponsors so we can have people in place. Under employment personnel issues, we have a few areas that need to be discussed. RBE items, and then litigation.
B.
okay,
RBEA.
we're gonna move to our second round of visitor comments. Anybody wanna speak over here? Yes, Mary Ann? Just for the record, just state your name and where you live.
Mary Ann Lee Brandt, still living in Brookfield.
Okay. Wait, hold on, you're supposed to say Western Brooklyn.
Oh, Western Brookfield.
Esther.
That was a good laugh.
Oh, excuse me, one sec. And confidentiality of closed minutes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's also will be discussed in closed session. Sorry, Ms. Lieber.
That's all right. You're all going to be here for a long time. I wish you well tonight. I want to thank you, first of all, for the board members to start having the discussion of how to communicate with your public, especially about the Booster Club, that has been a non-for-profit organization here since 1954. There are some incredible roots of the Booster Club and what being part of a community is all about. Granted, we know that it's economically tumultuous times out there for every family. But it's the communication that's really important. You as a board are looking for processes and procedures and trying to gain that communication back with a lot of the different organizations. Help bring our community back together, please. Open up your communications to a mutually exchanged type of meeting if you can. Because we need all of our families to come back together for this school for whatever happens in the future. So thank you very much for these discussions and allowing them to start to work again. And that's all I wanted to tell you.
Thank you.
Please keep
Mary
it
Ann.
going.
Anybody else wanna speak over here? All right, seeing none, nobody speaking, I need a motion to go to closed session. Gary, you can talk. This is one. You make that one. Go
I don't know
ahead.
if my voice will last.
All right, go ahead.
Resolved, the Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, enters closed session for the purpose of considering appointment, employment, or dismissal of employees, collective bargaining issues, and litigation.
Have a second?
Second.
All in, Marion, you wanna go for the vote, please?
Mr. Moon?
Aye.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Goodchick?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Cindy?
Yes. We'll go start closed session at 10 minutes, at 5 to 11.